welcome to the American Forked Podcast. This is episode 31.
Wow.
Wow, we've been doing this freaking a lot of weeks. What is that?
That's roughly 31 times.
31 weeks?
Yeah, just about.
Give or take.
Is that half a year yet?
I don't know how math works.
What?
Over half a year.
Yeah, it's 52 weeks in a year, right?
So
Yeah,
52
26
divided
weeks
by...
and a half.
Yeah, I need a calculator.
Wow. I didn't ever think we'd ever do anything together so continuous and kind of organized.
Yeah, other than berate and harass each other.
Oh, yeah.
There hasn't been anything that's gone on this long.
True.
We're going to berate him?
No, I just mean in our relationship, berating and harassing has gone on longer than 31 weeks, but not much else.
But the thing is, we've still pissed off as many people. We still have friends not coming around because they're upset about something.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I mean, it's all the same.
that's true.
Yeah, and tonight I'm joined by Jeff here
Hello.
in a basement closet
It's called the Murder Closet.
in the murder closet.
And for anyone that doesn't know from previous episodes, there's a very tiny room in my house, and Phil described it as tinier than I even imagined. And it's actually my office in the basement, but literally there's no windows, and the only reason I can imagine someone building this is to do illegal things like murder. So it's called the Murder Closet. It is currently hung like many blankets on the wall, partially because I'm too lazy to take them down, and secondly, so it doesn't get too echoey in here.
And it's beautiful. There's tigers and pandas, and also no Trent.
Yeah.
Trent's here on the phone. What's up, Trent?
Hey, I'm in the room.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Jason. I'm in the stabbing cabin. It's next door.
The stabbing cabin.
You're in the murder room. I'm in the stabbing cabin.
That's great.
I built it myself.
To stab people?
He built it himself out of the skins of his victims.
Ooh.
This is how I know that you're so innocent, Phil. That you think stabbing cabin is about murder.
Oh,
It
wait.
has nothing to do with intercourse.
Oh, I actually thought it was about murder.
Oh my god.
Okay. Got it. Move on.
Wait, you stab people during intercourse?
Do you not? How do you do it?
That sounds dangerous.
I feel like one of us is doing it wrong.
Phil just leaves it in there, just puts it in the one time, and just floats right there.
Okay. What's the first story, Phil?
So, speaking of stabbing,
I'm pregnant. I got my second shot yesterday.
Oh, snap.
you got COVID shots?
Yeah. There's clients of mine that won't even let me come in if I don't have it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so weird, huh? I know exactly how you feel, because I have clients, too. Like that. But then other
Yes.
people you think would be like that for sure haven't even brought it up with me. Like,
My mentality is, if you are vaccinated, what do you care?
Yeah. Does the
Like, I don't
vaccine
understand
work?
why people are... Yeah, if it works, then what do you care if you get other people sick? I don't care.
Like all the people who are like that, I guarantee a lot of them go on trips to other countries, and they're not like, I'm not going to Mexico unless everyone has the measles vaccine. It's
Well,
like,
I know that they're not, the big thing they're trying, from the shit that I'm listening to, they're like, why wouldn't you do it to just stop it? Like, polio's not a thing anymore because everyone got vaccinated. It's only in places where they don't get vaccines. Like, why wouldn't you just get it taken care of?
yeah,
And that I can kind of side with if it's like, yeah, this is going to be fine. If we all get, everyone's not getting it.
right.
There's too many people with too many opinions. It's just not working,
Yeah, it's crazy. All right, well,
yeah, that day could come for me at some point. It hasn't yet, but
I'm still going off the
Yeah.
idea of people say, are you vaccinated? And I just say yes. Because I am
Well,
vaccinated, but
no.
not against
Who didn't
COVID.
vaccinate their kids in our group? Eagle.
Me.
who doesn't vaccinate their kids?
Yeah, Jeff didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, mine aren't
Beagle
vaccinated.
didn't.
I mean, that's not all the way true. That's the other interesting thing. My kids have vaccines,
Are you?
but not every single one. They went to McDonald's and got a Big Mac. They didn't get everything on the entire menu, but they did get a Big Mac.
Are
I
you?
don't think that that's how that works, but
No,
like,
it
yeah,
is how it works.
they've had ibuprofen. They're fine.
No, they've had legitimate actual vaccines, but they haven't had all of them.
Oh, now how did you decide which ones to go for and which ones not to go for?
I turn my head to my wife and I go, "What do you think?" And then she says it. I actually don't even know which ones. I think it has to do with which ones are less toxic in her opinion or more necessary in her opinion. But her opinion's based off of research, but I don't know what. I don't know. I'm kind of like Phil. I think I'm kind of like Phil, where I'm like, if it was up to me, I'd just have them vaccinated. I don't care. The one thing I don't agree with is how much vaccine they give you all at once when you're a little baby. I think it should be spread out a little bit.
Yeah, it's because I don't have kids. Thank God. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it can't be any worse than cutting the tip of the dick off.
Well, like, let's pretend like you got a COVID vaccine and it kind of fucked up your day, right? Now multiply that by 12 vaccines and a body that's about 10 pounds.
They just went through a birth canal. They lived in their own piss and shit for 9 months. They're going to be fine.
They will be, and we're fine.
Breaking news that a man is missing from American Fork. Police are asking for help. They need help from the public. His name's Darren Przybilla.
That sounds right.
Was last seen on July 11th. That's like a couple weeks ago, isn't it?
Yeah. Is he an older guy or a younger guy?
The photo doesn't look too old. Maybe like, I don't know, it might be like 40, 45.
So is he
Is he
missing?
married?
Is
Says
he married? I know where you're going with this, Trent.
his family
Yeah.
told dispatchers he was going camping along Snake Creek Road, but they haven't heard from him for 2 weeks.
Okay.
They found his car along this road. Just imagine a pointy red arrow,
At a
listener.
map.
Yeah, at a map. Oh, it looks like it's up past Tibble Fork Reservoir.
Oh, he's up American Fork Canyon.
Yeah,
then.
up the canyon.
Huh.
And he's missing up there.
Okay.
So if you're going up American Fork Canyon and you see a heavy-set fellow with glasses, short haircut, this guy could be me, actually, except for the glasses part.
But if we did an age progression from the 11th, he's probably lost some weight.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe not a fat guy. He might be a skinny guy at this point.
Yeah, hope.
Wow, that's all that it takes?
11 days, yeah, of not eating.
And you'll be skinny again.
Yeah,
Well, I guess because at that point you're going to start withering away because you're dead. Yeah, probably.
that's true.
Yeah, this time of year, I would think dehydration or heat
Oh, yeah.
exhaustion.
There's so much water up there.
That's true.
Is there?
Up Tibbleford?
Yeah, I don't know. Everything else is like dry. I haven't been up there. I just
Well, I
imagine.
mean, it goes down like the Second Temple. You still have those walk downhill and hit a stream. Like if you can't, there's no way to get lost at Tibbleford. You just keep walking to the bottom of the valley and then walk downhill.
Yeah.
If you get lost in Table Fork, you deserve to get lost. Or he's married and he doesn't want to get found.
I think he recently opened an insurance policy and we're not going to find him. You know what I mean?
And then
Did Scott?
he's already
Scott
back
Bowers
at home in
leave
his
you?
basement.
No, he has a new home in West Virginia.
Oh, I
That's
see.
what I'm guessing.
Mountain Mama?
Mount Mama? What?
Take me home.
Sounds like a fun
country
idea.
road.
When you first presented this story, I thought it was like a 40-something-year-old man who was lost, like a silver alert, you
Oh,
know?
yeah.
And like didn't know where his house was and he's possibly under a viaduct or something, like thinking he's homeless. But no, he's lost in the mountains.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, 2 weeks is a good amount of time.
Yeah.
That's probably the amount of time I would hope that someone came looking for me.
That's true, but did you hear there was, I can't remember what canyon it was in, but there was a lady that went missing, and they found her the next season. Like, she went missing in the fall. They found her in the springtime when they started opening the canyon up. I can't remember which canyon it was, but basically the lady was a little bit crazy and just decided she wanted to give up, and like she didn't want the house anymore. She didn't want to deal with cars or people, and she just started living in the woods. And they took her to like an institution and mentally evaluated her, and they're like, yeah, she's a little mentally unstable, but it's not bad. And they released her, and guess what? She went back into the mountains. And she was basically
Listeners haven't thought about that.
oh, I've thought
I've
about
thought
it.
about that every day.
Yeah. And you're not married, right?
No, I mean, not with my current girlfriend. She's great.
Oh, and a listener. So yeah, she is great.
Essentially, every time one of you guys get married, I'm like, this can't be real. There's got to be a better place for life.
And then you think about going to the mountains, or you think about us going to the mountains?
And then I go to the mountains because I know you guys will search me down. I'll be like, listen, look how good it is out here. No one has these weird perception of your day.
We'll be like, I'll be home soon, wife. I gotta find Trent.
Yeah.
And then they'll be like looking for us.
6 months later.
Yeah.
No, all of your wives will be like, you don't need to go find him.
That's
None of us
true.
like him anyway.
That's true. They would talk me out of it anyway.
Yeah. He did us a favor. Just let him go.
He's probably in a good place.
Right.
You don't need to go up there. All right, so spreading out to Utah. Oh, I was just going to say, I hope that guy gets found by the time you're listening to this, because it's several days after we record. So hopefully it's not even news at all. Except that would be bad for us, because that just means that everything we said was pointless. But
I hope that they find him, and in his interview he says, I was just trying to get away from my wife. And then they like, someone chimes up, one of our listeners, and like, oh yeah, that's exactly what the American Fork podcast said. And then we can be on the news.
oh yeah,
That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, and all of a sudden we'll be like, we'll get Jeff's grandma to come on. We'll read palms.
Yeah.
We'll do all sorts of cool stuff.
Yeah. I don't know where that came from, but yeah. That sounds
We'll be like
perfect.
witches.
Oh, we'll be psychics. I see. I'll go to Vistaprint. I'll get us some business cards. We'll open up shop. You can come down to the murder closet, and I will read your palm and look into a crystal ball.
You guys are finally paying attention to me. Thank you. What has taken so long?
Well, I was on page 2, and you were on page 3.
Sure.
Okay.
That's what I get for reading ahead.
that's fair enough. So Utah, it reports 843 new COVID cases today,
Wow.
but just crossed the 3 million vaccine dose threshold. Oh, it says dose. So
Yeah.
what do we even know about that?
So it could be
No, they only-
1.5
No, they only
million.
count those. They only count those when you get your second dose. So they call it like a vaccination would be like that they've now completed them.
Oh, because this makes me think where it says vaccine dose threshold, it means they've just given 3 million doses, which could,
Oh, 3 million. Yeah.
which
Yeah,
could,
that's probably right.
which means only 1.5 million in theory are fully vaccinated, or maybe that means 2 million are fully vaccinated and 1 million have a dose. I don't know.
It is really difficult because some of the vaccines don't require 2 shots. They're a single dose. So
There you go.
So if you had, so, it's probably 3/4 that number, I'm guessing. Or,
So why do they say that? Why don't they just tell us the number that have been fully vaccinated?
It doesn't make sense.
Isn't that an easy number to come by?
I don't know.
Anyway, this, along with the CDC telling everybody who's vaccinated or not in the whole state of Utah, pretty much, to wear a mask now again when you go out.
Yeah.
Did
No,
you
they
get
just passed it. No, they just passed a thing saying that it's mandatory vaccination or not. If you're in a government building, you have to start wearing it.
Yep.
Oh, like so if you-
federal and state, I think.
So if you go to the post office,
No.
Mm-hmm.
isn't that a
Yep.
federal building?
Oh no, that's true actually.
it
but
is.
but I will tell you from going to the post office several times, not everyone's wearing a mask. The employees are though. I did notice that, but most
they just
everyone
have-
else isn't.
That just came out today.
Oh,
Oh,
Well,
Yeah, I had heard they were going to make all the federal employees do it or whatever. But that'd be interesting to go to a post office and see if everyone's wearing a mask. I wonder how much control they have over like individual post office management. If like
they have total control over them.
You think so?
Well, I mean, if it's some small town that no one's ever really going to notice, maybe not. But anyway.
But they probably have to in like West Valley, for example, because someone will go in there and be like, not everyone was wearing masks, and they'll complain to 1-800 U.S. government.
Right.
So this is how the federal government works. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
This is how the federal government works. They're going to hire somebody else to be in the lobby to make sure everyone's wearing a mask, but they won't hire another fucking teller when the line is like Disneyland when Indiana Jones first opened. And I'm seriously, they have 6 or 7 tellers, like stations. The most I ever see there is 2.
You're talking about the post office?
Yeah. But they'll have someone in the lobby, like, making sure everyone's wearing masks. Like, that's important.
Yeah.
But making sure that people actually get through the line and don't stand there for 45 minutes breathing the same air, that's not important.
Yeah.
Okay, so I found this story on KSL to offer a little bit. So Jeff's now new best buddy just passed this, so that's nice. Salt Lake City Mayor Aaron Mendenhall signed an executive order on Tuesday requiring all public and city employees, vaccinated or not, to wear masks in city-owned buildings. So the employees have to wear them, not necessarily the patronage.
Right.
So you could go in as a patron and do whatever you want, like sneeze in each other's mouth. But the other people, the workers, have to wear it.
I'm really glad that my traditions don't have to change because usually when I walk into a city building, the first thing I do is I put my nose on the hand railing and I just slide it up the stair, like the whole flight. I rub my nose on the hand railing. I'm glad that doesn't have to end.
You don't ever do that.
Good traditions.
I don't actually ever do that. But you know, the Salt Lake City building is closed and has been closed since the earthquakes. People think it's been closed because of COVID and stuff, but it's not. It's a very old building. They had earthquakes and it shake, rattled, and rolled the foundation, I guess. And they had nobody works in the city building right now.
Wow.
On Washington Square, if you're familiar with downtown Salt Lake.
Yeah, but that building is it's been under construction since the start of time.
Since it was constructed, yeah.
Yes.
It's like the Winchester Mansion.
Yeah, they never finished. They just started on a different room.
Yeah. Otherwise, it'll get haunted by ghosts.
You know, I just had an apostrophe when you said that.
No, you didn't.
Which is, it makes actually a lot more sense now why the government keeps saying, like, oh no, COVID. Because I bet, like, all the government workers and management and lawmakers are like, they've been on vacation all this time. And they're like, oh yeah, we've got to keep everyone home still because they're out going to Disneyland and enjoying it or down to the beach.
They're on vacation from their vacation. Their job is the easiest job.
Yep.
Yeah.
Collect money and do what, really?
Spend it.
Collect money and spend it.
Are they collecting money? So the people that are getting that COVID money, they're not paying taxes on that, right?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't
They're doing
know.
a good job of spending money right now.
I think everyone is, yeah.
I guess time will tell, really, because right now they're like, oh yeah, you're not getting taxed on it, but
Yeah.
is it going to be a part of your tax return in 4 years or something?
Another thing too that's really interesting is they're just shoving money in people's pockets. Like, I was listening to something. It was a CPA guy on YouTube or something, and he was talking about how you can opt out of these child tax credits. And I was thinking to myself, why would somebody opt out of it? Like, what's the logical reason? Because if you disagree with it, it doesn't matter. It'll still come back on your tax returns, right? It's not like you.
You know why they did that? I literally had a conversation with a CPA this week.
Yeah.
Who
over YouTube?
I wouldn't go to their house. No, I was tired. If you take the money for your kids, like what is it, $3,000 or whatever, twice or something,
right?
it's not going to be a tax incentive. It will be a tax liability. So you don't get to take a credit against that. Say you get $6,000. You will now owe taxes on that $6,000. You won't be able to still get your normal stuff. So most people don't realize, shit, this actually is going to be a burden to me and not an incentive to me.
Yeah, I've wondered that actually, because
They haven't clarified that.
yeah,
They figured out how to give it to you, but not how to manage it, basically.
I agree that there's something fishy going on.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that that's true, but the point that I was going to bring up is that they base that all off the past. So, like, let's say during 2020, your company was selling N95 masks, and now you're making $200,000 a year when you were only making $60,000 a year before, right? You no longer qualify for the tax credits, but because you did in years past, they just shoved that money in your pocket, right? My point is, they're giving people money without actually knowing if they qualify for it or not in the current tax climate.
Yeah.
And so tax season might come around and they'll be like, oh yeah, you owe us that money back plus this amount that you owe just from your normal thing. And I have a feeling if people aren't watching that, they're going to be pissed off.
Oh, they're going to be
By these
pissed.
Shitty Democrats, and so that's not the case. They're going to give away money until they're completely bankrupt, like California, and then wonder what the fuck just happened.
Yeah, and why am I paying 10 cents for grocery bags?
Right. Right. Well, you should have brought your own. What you get.
Or don't even have them. I'll go down. Where was it? I think it was Huntington Beach when I'm down there. I go to Home Depot. I've got a ton of stuff.
Right.
And they're just like, hey.
We don't have bags.
Yeah, there's no bags there.
Do they sell buckets there?
Yeah, I should have grabbed buckets.
They probably
when I did
sell
that
more
time.
buckets there than any other Home
It's the
Depot
thing
in
at the
world.
same at the grocery store. They just it's like being at Costco.
Yeah.
They just stick everything loose right back in your cart,
Yeah.
and you go and take it all loose out, which I guess isn't the end of the world, but
I think that's a great part of Costco. Like, they reuse those boxes, so at least they do something more than just going to a landfill. Like, how many times have you guys gotten a box from Amazon? Like, I'm building my rat rod right now, so I order stuff from Summit Racing. Summit Racing, please sponsor my rat rod. It would be super cool. And
wait, you said all that stuff too fast. What are you
He
saying?
wants Summit Racing to be a sponsor.
Oh, Summit Racing,
Yeah.
please sponsor Trent, who is building a rat rod,
Yes.
which is like a 20s coupe,
It's basically like a mouse rod, but bigger.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
yes, I think that now everyone knows.
It's a cousin of the hedgehog rod.
Anyway, go ahead. What were you
When you
saying?
order some, it's like a box in a box in a box with stuffing in all of them and rat. You could have just put a sticker on the first box and mailed it to me. You didn't have to rewrap my box.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I get it. I always feel dumb though because they don't just give you the box automatically. You have to ask for it.
Oh, at Costco?
Yeah, but I always feel like, doesn't everyone want the box? Why are they trying to hang on to them?
What's in the box?
I feel like what's the word? A little apprehensive about asking them. But I guess I should just ask every time.
Yeah.
I want all those boxes.
Did you get that reference at all? What's in the box?
You've
No.
never seen Seven.
There's this movie called Seven.
Oh, I know it's. Oh, Brad
At the
Pitt.
end, yeah.
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
Yeah, I get it now.
Okay. Because I will tell you, I do get a little off-put sometimes at Costco, depending on what box they give me. I've had seafood boxes before, and I have, vegetables and stuff in there, and I'm like, I don't know. Is this cucumber going to taste like crab? I don't know. Has that ever happened to you guys, or you just not give a shit and I'm being weird?
Maybe. I mean, if it had juices on it or something.
Ugh. What was in the box?
No, I've never paid attention to that.
That doesn't matter. Okay. I will keep that to myself.
All right. Are you ready for the topic of the evening?
Oh, that was it? Don't you have some messed up story
Oh,
about
no.
animals?
I have some more national news. So the Olympics are going on.
Yeah.
Have you guys,
What?
you guys been
I
watching
don't
it
believe
all?
that's national news. I think that's international news.
Or international? Well,
Yeah.
national as
The
far
fuckers
as
in Japan.
the United States is competing in the Olympics, and nobody's been thrown out for illegal drug use yet, right?
So Michael Phelps isn't competing.
Except that one girl I just realized did get thrown out. What was
What
her
girl?
name? I can't remember her name. She was like setting world records in sprinting. She had like this big pink hair.
Oh, she smoked weed. Her mom died. She smoked weed and then kicked her out.
Yeah, I thought that was ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. And then did you hear there is a there is a joust? No, not a jouster. What's the little sword thing called?
A fencer.
A fencer. And I thought fencer, and I thought totally like obviously there's no Americans that do this, but I was wrong.
There is.
But there's these sex allegations for assault against this dude named Alan Hadzik, Hadzik.
Yeah.
Offenses are so severe that he must be isolated and under a safety plan to protect women. He's still allowed in Olympic Games. But Shikari, the girl you're talking about, was disqualified for smoking weed with her at her mother's death.
Wait, he's isolated like he's in prison?
No, like he's got a buddy with him always to keep him away because he's such a
sex addict.
assaulter. Yeah, or just like assaults women so often and much that literally can't be left alone.
So he has like a court-ordered chaperone, pretty much.
That is the gist of what I've learned.
So let me get this straight. You're telling me that this guy that's in the Olympics for swinging around a little thing and poking people with his little prick, like sword thingy, is also on this off time swinging around his little prick and trying to poke people. Is that right?
You know what? You're bringing up great points, Jeff. But I wasn't on the litigation team, but I believe that you're basically right. Yes.
That's pretty messed up.
Yeah, I was sad. My daughter was super excited about that girl. We were watching her in the preliminaries or whatever. And then the next day it was like, oh, she's canned. And then the other thing that was weird was, I don't know if you guys have been following it at all, but you know who Simone Biles is?
Oh,
Yeah.
I've heard of her, yeah.
She's that girl that was like tearing it up last Olympics, won like 5 gold in the
gymnastics.
She
gymnastics.
literally has
Yeah.
4 moves that are like named after her. She is the GOAT. She's the best of all time.
Is she a black chick?
Yeah.
She's 4'8". She is a badass.
No, I've seen pictures of her and she's genuinely is a badass. So what's going on with her?
No, so apparently like half the stuff she does, no one else can even do. Like
Right.
all the other competitors. Anyway, she did her, I don't think it's the preliminaries, so they do like, you're at the Olympics and they compete, but it's not like the finals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think they do their same routines again or something. I'm not sure. That could be way wrong, but she did her routines and she like did these crazy flips and stuff, and like she landed hard and like took a step on the first one, and all the judges were like, oh no, and I was like, she just did like 7 aerials in a row. Like, who cares if she, obviously it'll knock off a point. Anyway, she made a couple of these mistakes, and then the next day announced that she's quitting. Like she's not going to compete in the Olympics.
Did she say why then?
She said she was like off her game and just wasn't focused and didn't want to hurt the team or something like that. And I was like, it was.
Word just came out today.
What came out today?
So none of you guys watch the news, apparently. I'm just the only one. So she has a case of what's called in gymnastics the twisties, which sounds weird, but it's essentially vertigo. Like she is, she's what's it called? What's the mom in Arrested Development's name?
Lucille.
She's Lucille too.
Oh yeah.
So she just like stands up and falls over. She's like, oh, here it comes again. So she'd be doing twists and not know where she was.
Dude, that is so crazy. Like pilots, when they're doing acrobats in the sky and they don't know which way's up and down. Is that what you're
All of a sudden
describing?
You're in the clouds.
Yeah.
So Yeah, so they don't know but they say it's supposed to be worse now. Like, you don't know if you're supposed to be doing a twist or a flip. And so she came out and said, like, hey, this was happening. I think that the PR team for the gymnastics or the Olympics did a terrible job. It came out like she was like, I'm done. I can't take the pressure, which maybe that was the case too. She had a lot of pressure put on her. She was in commercials literally holding on to a goat saying that she was the greatest of all time.
Right.
And then it's saying, like, of course she's going to win gold in everything, even events that she's never practiced in. Like, she was going to do swimming. She's going to win a gold in that. It's just silly.
Right.
Yeah, I get that. I see, but even when you say that she's saying she has vertigo or whatever, that doesn't make sense to me either, because it didn't. And I'm not saying she doesn't. I don't know what's going on with her, but just watching her didn't look like she was dizzy at all. It literally, to me, just looked like she made a couple like tiny hard landings or misstep, like things that are just like really technical and clinical, but not like, oh, she's way off. It was really like, holy cow, she's amazing. Oh, there was that little tiny thing at the end.
Right.
Like,
Huh.
that's crazy.
That's why you're not a judge, Phil.
Yeah. That's obviously why, because I was like, whoa, and they're like, oh.
Yeah.
I love that when they're like, oh no, that is devastating.
And yeah, like the ice skating's the best. They're like, oh, this is devastating. I'm like, what happened? Like,
Yeah.
oh, she turned the wrong way.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Oh, her hand touched
Oh,
the ice.
no.
That's it. It's over.
It is over.
And I get that. Like, I mean, I don't get it, but I can try to understand, like, practicing for years and years and years. And it doesn't matter if you just practiced it perfectly 100 times. If you don't nail it with all this pressure on you and everything, it's just like you might as well have done nothing.
Right.
Like, how they feel anyway. Like,
Right.
Yeah, but that, like, Phil, you went to sound school, pay way too much camp. And it would be the same as, like, pick your favorite crap band. They go up there, and then the lead guitarist or the singer is, like, a half of a fucking beat ahead. You know?
yeah.
They're going to lose a couple tenths. Yeah, it's not good for you.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to contrast it with music, but it's really interesting because, like, in classical music, it's not that people don't make mistakes. It just doesn't happen very often. Like, people practice and practice and practice, and then they go out and they nail it.
Yeah,
Like,
come on, Simone.
Yeah. And maybe it's just that...
Up your game a little bit. Musicians don't screw up.
Well, I was just going to say maybe it's because you don't notice those things audibly maybe as much as seeing somebody.
Right.
Like, it, you
There's
know, they
also-
take a little step. That might be the equivalent of someone rolling their finger a little hard on the violin or whatever, but
Right.
like most people don't hear it or notice, so I don't know.
When you go to a concert, there also isn't some douchebag. Like, there's not some, like, classically trained something or like, ooh, yeah, he was supposed to hit a G there. He didn't quite get that G.
Oh,
Like,
that was
let's watch that
devastating.
again in slow
Yeah.
motion. You're like, no, just keep going. I'm super drunk. I don't care.
Well, and I think that's the thing is that music, in my opinion, and maybe you have a different opinion, is like it seems like the reason that can't exist as easily is that there's more art and less technical. And I'm not saying that it's all art and all feely good because there's super technical jazz and like whatever, right? But I'm just saying the proportions maybe there's a little less technical in music, and in gymnastics there's more technical, even if we're only talking about a little bit, you know what I mean? Like there's more rules they have to follow, where in music it's a little bit more creative, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and I think too, it's like when you go to a concert, you're not going there to hear something played perfectly.
Right.
Like you've already heard the recording where they edited it and everything so that it's perfect. You go there to like experience humans like
Yep.
doing this thing on the fly. They might mess up, or it'll sound different every
Yep.
time, and that's what's so interesting. Gymnastics or the Olympics is interesting in that way to me too, but it's just not judged that way. You know, there's
Right.
no Olympics isn't like, oh, let's go watch these people perform. It's like, who's the best?
Right.
You know.
And I'll give you a life example of that. You want to know one of the most disappointing concerts I ever went to. incredible concert, incredible musicians, wonderful. But it was the Australian Pink Floyd concert.
Mm-hmm.
You know why it wasn't very fun? It was literally as though I put the Pink Floyd album on and hit play. It was
Oh, yeah.
exactly the same. Exactly.
And-
so good. I could have just stayed at home and listened to it.
And you know why? Is
Because it's not them. Well,
because very likely you were just listening to
oh, okay.
the recording. So that actually does happen a lot nowadays. Like
Really?
artists will just go, they hit play and they go up there and look like they're playing, but
I'm telling you,
very rarely are you actually hearing someone live.
it was, it blew my mind because it was great, of course, because who wouldn't want to listen to Pink Floyd on a massive sound system outside? Like, it was cool. You know, they had some cool visual effects and stuff, but musically, it was the most disappointing.
Yeah.
Because no joke, I could have just stayed at home and listened to it. It would have been the same audio experience, other than it's a better sound system, you know?
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's interesting.
Yeah. So the Olympics are going on. They've been fun. If you haven't been watching,
I have not watched one thing.
My kids are like super into it. We haven't watched it. I guess my kids weren't even that old the last time we were doing Olympics.
God, it seems like it was 4 years ago.
It's actually been 5. Believe it or
Oh.
not.
Wow.
That's one thing I kept like not realizing is that it was supposed to be last year.
So here's the question: is the next one going to be in 3 years?
I don't know. I didn't look that up. Where is the next one going to be?
Yes, it will.
It will be in 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes the most sense that they
They're
would
not
just.
going to, because all of a sudden it would be like, it would screw up everything. All of a sudden the Winter Olympics are 1 year after.
Yeah.
Like, they're for sure going back. I love that they kept all the badging and all like the banners and everything. 2020, Tokyo 2020.
Oh yeah, like on the floors and
Oh,
stuff.
really?
Yeah.
I mean, that would be fucking expensive to change.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, you could just
I
take a
like-
red spray paint and put a 1.
Yeah.
I guess.
The local KSL, the people they sent out there, their badging I think was the most clever. It was 2020 NE. So it looked like 2020, but it's 2021. Like it's all spelled out.
And E.
ONE. I'll find it. I'll send it to
Oh,
you.
okay.
Oh, I
So
see.
it looks like
So
it's
say-
2021. I get
but it's
it.
2021.
That's cute.
That is cute.
It
Did
was
you-
so cute.
Did you design that for him?
I did actually. That's where I want to. I've been working on a marketing team, and I'm happy you brought this up, Jeff. This portion of the podcast is brought to you by Market Your Shit RS.
When Toys R Us closed, Market Your Shit RS opened.
Do you have shit that you'd like to market to us? Use Market Our Shit RS.
I feel like the name just changed.
It's a working name still. I don't know.
Okay. That's great. All right, what now, Phil?
All right, next on to our topic. Finally, let me kind of broach this topic in this way. We were talking about the post office earlier and
Yeah.
people standing in line.
Yeah.
When you go to the post office, there's one line, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And when you get to the end of it, like you said, there are people that'll be like, next person, please. And so,
Right.
you go to that line. Have you guys ever noticed? I never noticed this growing up, so I don't know if it's a new thing or if it's always been this way. But I'll go to the grocery store now, and somehow, naturally, not with any guidance from workers or anything, a single line will develop where they like split off that way, but it's like gets ridiculous where it's like going way up some aisle or something. And I usually am like, why is everyone doing this? I just walk into a line, that has virtually no people in it because
Right.
everyone's standing in this stupid line.
Uh-huh.
Was there some new announcement that like culturally we all need to stand in one line now, or like is that just something that some people are doing? Have you guys noticed this at all? Or
You're
This-
talking about the self-checkout, right?
not even
Same-
necessarily.
No, but the same concept where
Yeah.
you have 8 or 9 self-checkout spaces, but only one line. The one line feeds those 8 or 9 locations. What Phil's talking about is like you have now 8 or 9 tellers at a check stand, and for some reason people don't wait in line in front of those tellers and form 9 lines. They form one super king line that feeds into each 9 of those locations.
Here's what you didn't realize, Phil. if you live in Utah County, not every place is full of dumb fucks like that. You need to move.
No, I think I see it in Vegas also.
No, it's the sheep of Utah County. You guys have been doing it your entire life. Why not at the grocery store?
Yeah, I'm looking at this question as a challenge because this question is ridiculous, Phil, by the way. But listen, it ends in a compliment. We're going to dive so deep into this that this is going to be the topic for tonight. Because here...
No, I know. That's why I started with it.
Okay.
But it has a deeper meaning.
But what about this? Here's what I think is happening. Because I have noticed that before. I wouldn't say it's like a regular thing. I've seen it before, right? And I get what you're saying. Sometimes you're like, what are these bozos doing lining down the bread aisle? I'm just going to walk up to teller number 7. Right? I've done that too. But I think the concept of lines has gotten a little bit tweaked because of COVID. Like, you have to, and I'm not saying that exact thing has occurred because of COVID, but what I am saying is the rules of lines have changed. Like, it is no longer okay to walk right up behind somebody. And if you remember that their tellers would say, do not place your items on the belt until you are called up, basically. Did you guys ever see stores like that during COVID?
Yeah, where they have to wipe them out.
Right,
down.
they'd wipe it down and then you could put your groceries up there. That kind of thing is like, you're just changing the rules. And I think with the rules being changed of like, what is a normal line for someone to walk into, I can see how people are doing even weirder things. But it sounds like this is just the tip of the iceberg of what you're actually talking about.
Well, it is.
Oh, snap.
And you made a good point, and I can't say for sure that I didn't notice this before COVID. I feel like I did, but probably saw it more during COVID. But here's my theory. The reason, and I'm assuming that we're seeing this now, and we didn't see it growing up. I don't know if that's true or not.
That's your basis of continuing this conversation.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if it isn't an idea that if everyone gets in one line and then splits off into individual lines, everybody's equal, right? Everyone lines up in the line. When it's their turn,
no one wins, no one loses.
Exactly. When everyone picks a line, everyone takes some level of risk.
Yeah.
Right. It's like this person could pick this line, that one could pick that one, and the results could be drastically different, right?
Yep.
And so is it this mentality that's arising in society that Me too. We can't have winners and losers. Everyone's got to be equal.
It's like, what about me? And it's not fair that I have to wait so long.
And here's a example of something that's coming up in a lot of states. You've probably heard people talk a lot about, which is this thing called ranked choice voting. Have you ever heard of that?
I heard, but I don't actually know what it is.
So I think they've done it in New York now, or they...
Oh, no, I know what it is. Yeah.
It's that thing that Beagle was talking about where... I'm going to butcher it.
No, I can describe it in Olympic terms.
Yeah.
You don't just choose a gold. You choose a gold, a silver, and a bronze.
Right.
You choose... As a voter, you say, these are my gold, silver, and bronze, or this is my 1, 2, and 3. And somehow they take that into account when calculating who is the winner of whatever.
Right.
Right.
And the idea, at least from what I understand, is that instead of having winners and losers, nobody wins all the way, but nobody loses all the way. So it's like everybody gets their happy second place.
Oh, he's the honorary mayor.
Yeah.
He's the Special Olympics mayor.
Like,
what are you talking about?
Like, is that a good way to put it? Have you heard of that, Trent?
I have not heard of that, but I don't understand how that helps us if we come to the same single winner, right?
No, so I guess the idea is if nobody wins more than 50%, then they go to the second... They pretty much go to everyone's second choice. So you instead of just choosing a president, you choose a first choice president and a second choice president. So if nobody wins or over 50% of the first choice, then it goes through some crunchy number thing to the second thing, which I don't understand. But essentially the idea is, really from my perspective, what it boils down to is there is ever a Donald Trump where half the country loves him and half the country hates him, that guy will never win.
Let me rewind
How
to
does it stop that?
let me rewind to something you said, which is I don't understand the math.
Yeah.
That's where my mindset goes to. I feel like they're introducing a little bit more technicality and confusion and extra reasons to have a TI 93 calculator in front of you, like to figure out who is the president or who is the whatever, right? Why? Like, to me, the more complex it becomes, and if you need a calculator to figure out who proportionately won and who like, to me, it's just opening the door to more fraudulent stuff. Like, oh yeah, he won majority if you calculate the third string's value of 3.3 repeating and the second string at a value of 4, but then you get a full 5 value out of the first vote. You know what I mean? Like, all of a sudden it starts turning into such a confusing thing that it's like opens the door to fraudulent like actions. That's where I think it happens.
Yeah, and it could be that even though I don't understand it because I didn't look into it that much, it might be pretty simple.
I hope it is, because I don't understand it either.
I don't know, but one thing I think is really interesting is Abraham Lincoln won less than 40% of the popular vote.
Right.
So like that guy wouldn't have won in this system.
Yeah, but all you right wingers say that.
That's
what you guys always say. No, but it is a point. He didn't win the popular vote, but he won the electoral college, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's
assume.
how he became president.
Obviously
right?
he did.
He would have had to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is our society like moving to this place where they're like there can't be winners and losers.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to just kind of be mediocre together.
Yeah.
Like, do we see that happening financially at all?
Yeah.
With what people want to do financially?
Quit asking questions you already know the answer to.
Well, I could be wrong.
That's true.
You're supposed to tell me if I
Well,
am.
I'll tell you, the first step that I saw that was like this idea of participation trophies. Like, when we were little and you joined junior jazz or whatever and you played basketball, you either lost or you won.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
That was it. But they don't even keep score anymore. I mean, there's a dad out there with a clipboard that does.
Yeah.
but like per the league or the group of people, they don't keep score anymore. I mean, Trent, you're the only one that actually plays sports since junior jazz. So is that like in the thing that's carried on into the adult stuff? When you play kickball, are they keeping score, or is it just about a drinking game? Like, what?
I mean, personally, for me, it's a drinking game. I mean, when I was a kid, they still, like T-ball, they didn't keep score.
Yeah.
But they did in literally every other league. Like, as soon as you had T-ball and you were in, like, machine pitch or
right.
Whatever, then they kept score.
Right.
But it's, they're definitely changing things like the math stuff we talked about a while ago where now it's not about finding a right or wrong answer. It's about finding a answer and who the hell knows why you got there. But, yeah, I don't know. I think the only way to solve this is to have, if we had 3 presidents or 5 or 7 presidents instead of 1, all this shit goes away.
Like a presidential council?
It would be like the Supreme Court, but a president.
That's an interesting idea.
But we'd have to like vote for them all and watch like 7 times as much debates and garbage on the news about them.
Instead of being in office for 4 years, they'd be in office for 8 years, and there'd be 3 of them. And it'd stagger like every
Rotate
2
them?
years. Every 2 years, you'd vote for a new one.
Dude, what if one of them died? That would be like the biggest controversy.
One of the
Great.
Yeah. Everyone would just be
You do
looking at the
one.
other 2 presidents. Like, what do you have to do with this?
Oh,
Sorry that my mind went there. Right
That's
away.
true. Why do we have one president?
That's true. Why don't we have a few
It's
people to
stupid.
blame?
it's stupid.
I do like the idea of 3 because
Yeah.
3 seems like you can make a decision pretty easily.
Yeah?
Like 8 or whatever. Like if it's like 8 people have to say yes to shoot the nuke,
Yeah.
it probably won't ever get shot.
That's true. I would say pretty much anything you do in life, if there's 8 people that need to make a decision, that it's not going to happen. But if there's only 3 or so, shit's going down.
I just
Tell that to World War II.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. It's exactly what I was talking about, by the way, Trent.
But anyway, what I was trying to say is I'm super annoyed by those lines. They drive me crazy. And I'm always looking at the other people, like trying to read in their faces why they came to this decision that, like, oh yeah, I should stand behind this guy instead of go stand in any of these
Right.
empty lines. And I've always paid attention to see if like some worker is like guiding people to do that. I think it just kind of happens.
Here's the thing, Phil. I am concerned about your mental stability while you're at the grocery store.
Oh.
So I'm going to give you some advice.
Okay.
Before you leave the murder closet tonight, I'm going to issue you a safety vest. Okay?
Okay.
It's a pocket version. You can keep it in your pocket at all times. And when you come across these, I want you to get a whistle. You're going to have to get your own whistle. But put the safety vest on, get your whistle out, and start blowing the whistle and start directing all the carts. Like, Kate, you're on line 1. All right, you over here, line 3. Kate, line 9. And just process the line, the big fat super line, until it's your turn. And then you just go wherever you want.
So let me tell you something about that. When I go to Trader Joe's in Orem, sometimes everyone lines up in their own lines.
Right.
And sometimes there's actually an employee directing everyone into a single line. And I've wondered if that's because of store policy or because if that employee is one of those people. It's like, oh, it's got to be fair.
It might not be an employee. It might be a guy that did what I just told you to do.
Yeah, it might just be someone showing
Someone who
up.
went to Savers and found a Trader Joe's shirt and brings it in whenever they go grocery shopping. I'm telling you, people need to take matters into their own hands.
Yeah. So when I hear that person, I should just be like, no, everyone take your own line.
Yeah. Get your vest out
Yeah.
and your whistle and take control. You need to get that guy right, give him a dead leg, he'll fall over, and you take control from there.
A dead leg. Remember that?
Yeah, that's why I said it.
Yeah.
Blast from the past.
It was a blast from the past.
Well,
Like when we walk up to each other in the hall and knee each other in like the quad,
yeah, dead leg.
that was funny.
That was awesome.
Or like punch each other in the nether regions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
flick it. Oh.
Speaking of which, this will be a good note to end on. The new Jackass movie is coming out in a couple months.
Oh God.
If you haven't seen the trailer, I'm super
They
excited.
look so old.
They do look so old. And that's what was so funny is like the one guy's like, your chances of getting concussions go way up after 50, but Knoxville's 49, so we're good. And then it shows him like getting rammed by a bull.
Did
Like,
they already spend all their money?
I guess so. I
They
guess
just-
that's
they're
why
like,
they're
well-
back at it.
Better go back on tour.
Yeah.
I think Johnny's the one because he had he was in charge. He got a bigger piece of the pie. He had a smaller drug habit than everyone else too, but
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why though, that kind of like humor. Maybe I'm just like a sick person inside. But
No, you're basically
I-
12.
But I love it. Or I'm 12.
Yeah,
I think
you're
so.
12.
But like just the idea of like intentionally hurting yourself for comedic relief. Like
Physical comedy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like real physical comedy.
Yeah, yeah.
Not like, oh, that guy slipped, but it was probably staged.
No,
It's
but when
like-
I say physical comedy, there is like the intellectual, like conceptual comedy, but then you have like Tommy Boy. What's his name?
Chris Farley.
Chris Farley.
Yeah.
He's a physical comedian.
Yeah.
He like it's not just what he says that's funny, it's the way he moved his body when he said it or whatever, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden it becomes hilarious, you know. he can move, like the way he moves is funny, but that's what I mean when I just mean physical comedy. Now, Jackass takes it to the next level because Chris Farley's not riding a shopping cart down the street and running it into a bush or whatever, but it's the physical nature of it. The Three Stooges versus, I don't know, what's a funny deep thinker, or like Eddie Izzard. Like that's a conceptual or mental like comedian. So
Yeah.
it's like the difference between those guys, you know.
Yeah, well, and just if you haven't seen the trailer, the last scene in the trailer, they've got one of the guys strapped to a chair and they're pouring honey all over his head, and then they dump like a bunch of raw salmon in his lap. And he's like, honey and salmon. And then you hear this, and they open this gate in the room,
Oh my
and a
God.
bear comes in. See, I don't know why. I just think that's hilarious.
Basically-
Like, maybe this guy's going to die from intentionally getting honey slathered for a bear. I don't know.
See, and I'm far too logical. I'm thinking to myself, I'm going, there's no way that this is going to end in a bad way. Like,
Yeah.
they just couldn't do that. Like,
Yeah, they've probably got 5 guys there with tranquilizers and
not just that, but it's
All
like,
that.
oh, we just fed the bear.
yeah.
Like,
Or it's a trained bear that licks people all
right.
the time.
Or it's Johnny Knoxville in a bear suit.
Yeah,
Or, I don't know.
yeah.
Well,
Should be fun though.
but Jackass gives you a massive boner watching the previews, like our last guest, Beagle, watching Dune.
Yeah,
Is that about right?
The Doom preview. I wouldn't say I'm like that ramped up. I'm
Oh, okay.
excited to go see it, but the
Will
other,
you see it in the theaters?
probably yeah.
Oh my god.
I won't be like lining up at midnight
Dressing up like Johnny Knoxville.
with a cape on, performing
Where-
a stunt.
Yeah, riding in on a shopping cart.
Yeah, probably not that. So, anyway, thanks for listening to the American Fork podcast. Hopefully, you've all decided to quit making those stupid lines. Or maybe I'm wrong and there's like some legit, like, societal thing that a bunch of smart people have decided this is the best way to do lines now, and I'm just out of the loop.
I think Trent knows the best way to do lines.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh,
100% I do.
He does.
You're not going to feel good the next day, but it is going to be a great night.
For 25 minutes.
No.
Listen, all right.
It's going to be a 10-hour window, and then you have a ton of fun, and then you're so tired.
Oh, God. Brought to you by Drug Addicts Anonymous. Listen, if you have an idea about these lines, because apparently we need clarification, Phil's not 100% confident in his opinion, you should call in and leave a voicemail at, what is it? 385-DAD-0-MUG.
Oh, that's right.
385-DAD-0-MUG. Or you can send us an email, info@americanfork.com. And we're also on all the socials, as Jake would say. We're going to do a little plug here for Jake. He's not here. You're plugged now, Jake.
Oh, yeah,
We
Jake.
love you.
Jake would say something like, Peak Refuel, buy us a podcast. Thank you very much. And also, see us on Patreon and Google us on YouTube. Was that a good Jake impression?
That's exactly what you do. That's
Yeah.
exactly how you do it. You know social media really well.
I sure do.
Has Jake recently turned into a whore?
Yes? I don't know how
What-
to answer that.
What's the recently in that question?
Oh, I didn't know. Well, I guess he's always anything to save a nickel, but yeah.
We love you, Jake. We hope you're back next week.
Yeah.
Jake's just very
Where is
busy.
Jake?
He's just very busy. He bit off more than he could chew, I think, and so he's just playing catch up or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
His wife did get pregnant.
he's eating. Oh my gosh,
Oh my
that
gosh.
would be a. I'm not saying. I'll just be quiet now.
That's a good way to end this.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night.
Phil, be quiet now.